Okay. Let's practice the Hebrew reading. Albert, would you like to read, please?
Yes. um, Vayikera Bareot El Moshe Vayomer Liku Ivetu Et Adonai.
Good. Can you do it one more time?
Vayikera Bareot El Moshe Vayomer Liku Ivetu Et Adonai.
Okay. Good job. I can see that the fluency needs to be a little improved. Okay, but you did a good job. But in order for you to be perfect, I'm just giving you my what is it, assessment, so that you will have kind of understanding of what is good and what is bad for your quizzes. Okay, so you did a good job in terms of accuracy, maybe 95, and then fluency, I may say 90. Okay, Albert. So you can just spend a little time for Hebrew reading for your quizzes. Let's do it one more time. Dominic.
Hello?
Mm-hmm. Dominic, can you do that?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Vayikera Pariot El Moshe Vayomer Abed Abed Abedu El Adonai. It's Adonai.
Okay, good. Great improvement. I can see that you're working hard on Hebrew reading. Glad to see your improvement. Um, okay, the speed was okay. Okay, so I think I can give you 95 for fluency, and then accuracy 90. It's still confused. Okay, with many consonants and even vowel points, but it's not really in a big mistake. Just go ahead. All right. Okay. Let me see how fast I can finish so that you can have enough time to study again. We have how many verbs here? How many verbs do you think we have? All right. The first verb that you can recognize. Let me know.
First word.
Yes, good. Anything else?
Vayomer.
Biomed, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Leku.
What about you?
Okay, somebody said liku. Amazing. Yeah, this is a verb. And then Adair, you said this one?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you did a
I
good
don't know
job.
for sure. No, I don't think so anymore. I just realized it's not.
No, you're right.
It's
That's
not
a
a verb.
no, it's a verb. Why? Because I know that somehow it looks strange. And it doesn't really look familiar. That's why you're saying, oh, in the beginning, I know the word abat. Oh, and what is this? It doesn't look familiar.
That's
So,
verb.
yeah, but that's a verb. But anyway, we're going to talk about it. Okay, let's do this. I think the first one is not really difficult to analyze. Let's do that. Can I ask, okay, maybe Samson, would you analyze this one? Root letters?
Okay. The root letters is Qaf, Resh, Aleph,
Right, good. Then,
and then stem is Kal.
okay, why do you think this is called?
You want my honest answer?
Yeah,
Just
please.
just because the Dagish forte, so I know there's a lot more things you're supposed to say, but for me, I just look if I don't see the Dagish forte, then I just automatically assume because we only learned two stems so far.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it works, but in this case, you have resh in the middle. So resh cannot take dagesh. So without
Oh, okay.
memorizing all the, what is it? PowerPoints for PS stem and car stem, it is impossible for us to memorize everything. But somehow you need to approach with this idea. If the dagesh forte cannot come because of the middle guttural letter, then we normally expect something under the first root letter. Normally, it comes as a compensation in the form of lengthening. Okay, but as you can see that the sure is the shortest sound exactly. So you cannot see any lengthening. Okay, so it's a safe for you to put call here, right? Sam, let's move on.
Mm. And then form is a prefix,
Mm-hmm.
and then for PGN 3MSG,
Mm-hmm.
and for special features vowel conversive,
Yes.
and then for meaning uh, and he
And he
called.
what? Yes. Right. Any question? Is that clear? I think everything is very straightforward. So
Professor, for
yeah.
the quiz and stuff, do you like instead of just giving you the one word answers, do you want us to like do those explanations like I say prefix because of this and that, and I see like that kind of stuff,
Well,
or the
actually,
one
I'm
word
not
answer
going.
is not good?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the question. I think it's helping the classmates to understand what kind of things will be appearing for your oral quizzes. Are you talking about oral quizzes?
Yeah, for the oral quiz, like when you talk to
Especially
us, like you want to know a form, like oh, what about this form? You want us to explain everything, or
right, right,
is it
right.
okay we just say, oh,
I'm not going to show you anything like showing you a Hebrew words, and am I going to ask you to analyze it like the way we did right now? No, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to simply ask you what you understood, or what you still remember regarding all the grammar. So it's going to be quite general questions, like, and a very broad question. Please tell me what you understand about imperative form. Okay, and can you tell me about infinitive construct? All right. So very broad knowledge. After learning imperative, because you cannot simply say one aspect for imperative. So you need to start from the basic knowledge about imperative form. That when I say basic knowledge, what do you mean? You need to talk about all the indicators such as shua, holem. But that works for kal stem and strong verb. Today, we are going to talk about other types of imperative. So these things are what you need to understand. And then that's the thing that I want to really see from you. Is that clear? So if you study, then just look at big picture, okay, and that's it. Mm, something like, can you tell me about directive hair? What do you mean by directive hair? And what is the indicators of directive hair? And can you tell me about verb reversive? What about verb conversive? And what about missing letter rules? And what is the significance of PS stem? More, yeah, something like this. See? So it's quite a general question. Is that clear, Samson? Okay, I think you don't need to be really ready to analyze the Hebrew verbs and needs when it comes to our quizzes. Okay? So it's gonna be face-to-face interview. So you need to look at my eyes and I'm going to see you through your eyes and okay. I will see your eyes shaking. I'm gonna enjoy it. Okay. All right. Let me move on. All right, then okay. Hebrew verb comes and then we expect the real subject. So the subject is King Pharaoh. So Samson, what is your translation up to here?
To that line, or
Yeah, from the
and
beginning.
Pharaoh said to Moses.
All right, good. This one, I don't want to even write. Why? Because it's Biomer, the most popular one, Biomer. So Amar, Kal, prefix 3 MSG verb conversive, and he said. Do you have any question? Okay, let me move on. Today, we are going to talk about this one. But before we do it, let's do this. FL. This ending.
Yes,
This ending is quite
that's
special.
right.
U ending. So when can you see U ending, especially if this is a verb?
3MPL, but with the prefix. That one doesn't have a prefix, right?
Okay, right. You are right. If we have the prefix pronoun yod in the beginning, U ending can come.
That's what.
Are you following us? And then
Mhm,
there are other cases for U ending.
mhm.
Okay, that's a good start. When can you expect
Uh,
U ending?
2MPL, but again with the prefix. And I'm
Yes,
just
you
thinking
you
if
got it.
there's a,
You
yeah,
got it. 2MPL.
PM.
Yes, that is a specific ending for 2MPL prefix form, like 3MPL prefix form. But the thing is, you cannot see the prefix pronoun. We expect that
No.
in order for this one to be 2MPL
Oh,
prefix, we need to have tav or yod. Are you following me?
is that a, yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead. What can you see?
Um, I remember it's either the infinitive or the other one. I
What
know
is
that
the
there's one that have engenders, sir.
no. Remember this. I
Not
think
that
this is
one.
what we are talking about yesterday. Um, in terms of imperative
Hmm.
form, we have four. One, two, three, four. So shua holem. Okay. This
Yes,
one
yes.
is these are the indicators of infinitive construct or imperative to MSZ. When it comes to 2
Yes.
FSZ, 2 MPL, 2 FPL, imperative form. Okay, imperative form. So you need to understand that we're talking about the specific form called imperative. Okay, not infinitive construct,
Okay.
not affix form, not
Oh,
prefix form, not participle. Imperative.
no.
So when it comes to 2FSG, we expect E, 2MPL, U, and then
Na.
na. See,
Na.
U ending can come for 2MPL prefix form. As you, Adele, emphasize, that's strange. Why? Because U ending is 2MPL with top in the beginning should be prefix form. But how can you got this iuna ending? We got this one from prefix form. So after removing whatever is preceding as prefix pronoun, just to take it out. And then you get just ending. Then that is the forms of imperative. So what I'm trying to say is I, U, na endings are imperative endings without prefix pronoun in the beginning. One more time, Adele, you said that's strange because we cannot see yod, we cannot see tav. Then that's imperative. Do you understand, Adele?
Yes. And
Okay.
there's no preposition, so it's not infinitive.
Yes, but this time that the possibility of infinitive construct is not our consideration. Why? Because infinitive construct will not take u ending at all. So i, u, na must be imperative. But if there is nothing at the end, then you're right. You need to always think about two possibilities. What are they? Infinitive construct and imperative. But in this case, having u ending must be an imperative to MPL. Okay, is that clear?
Mhm.
Okay, then let me do this. Let me just analyze this one. Then as you can see, we have all those three letters. And what stems do you think we have here? Anyone?
Carl.
What stem? Jim?
Yeah.
Carl, sir.
Kai. Why?
No Dagesh.
No Dagesh. What about form?
Imperative.
Yeah, I told you. You're a good listener. Okay. And then PGN.
2 MPL, sir.
2MPL. And what can you see? Special feature?
Nothing.
You want to say U ending?
No, sir.
Yes, this one is just the specific ending for imperative form. So not none special feature. Meaning?
Walk.
No.
No.
What are you looking at? You are doing something with this. This one.
Sir,
It
sir,
has,
sir.
right? This one has the same root with noun ebet, and then as a verb, it's abat. What is it? Abat. Ebet. Do you know what it means by ebet?
7.
Servant. And then what does servant do?
So,
Serve. So yes, the meaning of the verb is to serve. Okay. So what is your meaning here?
so,
Serve. It's imperative. If we want to highlight, maybe put you into parentheses. You, sir. Okay. Do you have any question? Okay. Serve. What? The the oh. Serve what? The Lord. So let me just tell you from the beginning. And Pharaoh called to Moses, and he said something. We will come back to this one later. Something, and this one, serve the Lord.
Serve.
Okay, let me just then deal with this. As I told you, I think you are not ready to analyze this one because you cannot see everything, which means, okay, this one is a verb, but you may think, okay, this ending is special. As we have just talked about it, u ending is coming for what?
Imperative.
Imperative, without prefix pronoun in the beginning. That is important. So Ethel, you can always say u ending always serves for imperative form. Always you need to check whether or not we have prefix pronoun in the beginning. Because if we have a prefix pronoun in the beginning together with the u, then that is what? Prefix. But if we don't have prefix form in the beginning and just u ending, then that is the specific ending for imperative form. What PGM? I told you, nothing, iuna. Say, iuna.
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 Right.
Iuna.
So nothing is 2MSG. E is for 2FSG.
To FG.
Is for 2MPL. Na is for 2FPL. Right. So U is 2MPL. So, oh yes, I think it must be 2MPL something. So this one is what we are learning as a new stuff. So this one, can you guess what the main verb?
Halak.
Oh,
Halak. Great. How did you know? Paul, this one is halak. How did you know this is halak?
Yeah, first they have ha. First the har.
Yeah, but how did you know that this is halak? In fact, we don't have he in the beginning, but looking at lamed and kaf, how did you know this is a halak?
Yeah, I knew the verb. I knew the verb, so that's why.
Exactly, that's why I told you. When it comes to first yud verbs, first noon verbs, and hello verbs, and even this halak, because halak wants to be yallak, the first yod verb. So it normally follows the first yod verb patterns. So when those things are what you are dealing with, then you need to really pay attention to the two major consonants in the root letters. Why? Because first yod and first noon or third he, all those components will easily disappear. So this is the case. You have only luck, but you need to know, oh, it looks familiar. And then you need to think about the possibility of, but to be honest, without this one, oh, you may start thinking like, oh, lamed preposition. I think it's okay for you to start with this possibility. Then you need to think about what are they? Have I deal with this before? Then you need to forget about it and just to come back to other possibility. Do not stick to just one thing that you understand. Okay, this is a bit confusing, but today, this is the very new lesson that we need to pay attention to. Right. In case of first yod verb, imperative form, we can see the what is it? Symptom that the first yod will disappear. One more time. If the first yod disappears, and then just have two remaining consonants. And praise the Lord that we have specific ending for imperative form. Then in this case, it's really helping us. In this case, this is the imperative form. One more time. Imperative form for first yod verb, then the first yod will disappear. So you need to understand, okay, what is the indicator of first yod verb imperative? And you need to let me know, oh, the first yod verb will be gone. Let's talk about okay, I know, just to forget about it. We'll just come back to this one. So that's it. But the thing is, we are not simply dealing with first yod verb. Today you need to learn all the indicators of different types of weak verbs. When I say weak verbs, it is about first noon, hello, first yod, and third he, all those things. So we are going to talk about it. But anyway, the fact that you cannot see the first yod means what? This one is imperative form. Let me move on. I'm going to show you. Okay, let's look at this. We have two types of first yod verb. Type 1, type 2. Okay, we are dealing with imperative form in relation to first yod verb. So as you can see, we have only 4 PGN for imperative form. So let's look at type 2 and type 1. So when the words ya, re, and then yashab. This one is yare and this one is yashab. These belong to different group. Type 1, in case of type 1, as I said, the first yod verb will be gone when they are used in the imperative forms. So as you can see, you cannot see yod, yod, yod. And this one looks a bit confusing. Why? Because even you may have the possibility of shuv. Are you familiar with this word? The hello verb shuv. So in fact,
Yeah.
it is getting a bit harder and harder because when you are learning a lot of things that, it seems confusing. But you need to also understand what we expect for hello verb. We are going to talk about it. If this one is a hello verb and then it is used in the imperative form, and everything will be appearing as it is. One more time. In case of bo, sorry. This is another hello verb, am I right? But it is unusual for this hello verb to be appearing as identical as lexicon form, like this. Then that should be either imperative form and or infinitive construct. But anyway, we will come back to this one. So this one indicates that this one is not a hello verb imperative. Since we cannot see the yod in the beginning, then it is an indicator of imperative form for first yod verb. So that's why we have shin and bet. What about i, u, na ending? One more time. Without the prefix pronoun in the beginning, those i, u, na endings are quite specially used only for imperative. Okay? One more time. If you see i, u, na ending, okay, for a verb without a prefix pronoun, then that must be what? Imperative. But the thing is, 2ms is always confusing. As I told you, 2ms is the most confusing thing. But anyway, iuna is okay. Well, what about type 2? Type 2 is not our big problem because we have all yod, 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 yod. and together with the most expected vowel pointing under the first two letter. What are they? Shua, hirek, hirek, shua. One more time. Shua under the first two letter, and then I want to say holem above the second two letters are the indicators of imperative form and infinitive construct. But if you think holem will always come above the second two letter, then that's not correct. So this time, I need to let you know that, okay, shua under the first two letter and hirek under the first two letter, they are the indicators of imperative and infinitive construct. So do not pay a great deal of attention to the second vowel point because it will vary depending on what verbs and what PL, what stem we have. But anyway, this case, we don't need to worry about because everything is there, Shua. And what do you need to put? You need to put two possibilities, imperative, to MSG, or infinitive construct that has no PGN. What about this one? I, U, na. Oh, Evel, what about this one? Oh, I have the yod, which is the prefix pronoun, and the u ending, then you may end up recognizing it as 3M PL prefix form. Oh, it looks like it's a good guess
Looks
too.
like.
Yes, but what about then these two? Then you think, oh, after removing non-neutral letters, this one and this one, then we have only two. Is this the time for us to apply missing letter rule? Then you see here, then it could be la. That's confusing, isn't it? It works, and then you know the words. No, it's not the case. In this case, this one is a new part that you need to be familiar with. So you need to understand that this yod and hirek and then this shurek is a special thing that you need to pay attention to so that you will not be confused with 3MPL la'a. Okay, this one is indicating 2MPL imperative form yare. That's why it is confusing. Have I mentioned about the passage, Isaiah passage? Um, uh, no, just forget about it. I think I better just concentrate on this. But anyway, so this is the indicator. So please remember iuna ending is quite special. And then what is important about type 1, type 2 is this. Type 1 first yod verb will drop the first yod. Okay, that is the indicator of imperative form. And the type 2, you don't need to really worry because it takes everything there. That's it. All right, so call imperative 2MPL none. I walk and go. Okay, let's talk about another imperative form in relation to first guttural verbs. As we are talking about the most expected indicators of imperative form, these are, when it says strong, these are the most, what is the basic form that we normally first deal with. So in order for this one to be imperative form, then we expect shua, holem, and hirek, hirek, shua. One more time. What ending do we have? Nothing. I, u, na. So what can you see in terms of the difference between first guttural and strong verb for imperative form? As I highlight, this shua becomes composite shua. Why? Because the guttural cannot take vocal shua. So in that case, vocal shua um, changes to composite shua. That's why shua becomes composite shua. Very simple. So when you see a composite shua under a guttural letter, then consider it as shua in terms of grammar. Okay. Then what kind of form can take shua under the first root letter? Then you need to think about two things. What? Imperative form and infinitive construct, especially to MSG. But one more time, when it comes to FSG, to MPL, you don't need to even think about infinitive construct. Why? Because infinitive construct will take na ending. So one more time, na endings are the indicators of imperative form. Clear? Yeah, especially with the prefix pronoun at the beginning. So now we have learned two things. In terms of imperative form, what have you studied? First Yudbab and first guttural. So you need to let me know. Okay, what are the indicators of first Yudbab imperative? I can ask you this question for your grammar part. Then you need to let me know. Firstly, the fact that in case of first Yudbab, the first Yod will disappear for imperative form. Okay? And then what else? And then for 2F SG, 2MPL, and 2FPL, it'll take E, U, Na ending. That's it. All right? And then what about first guttural verbs? In terms of imperative form, then you need to let me know. Oh, shua under the first root letter will become composite shua. And then we can expect the second vowel pointing to be Holland. And for other PGN, we will have Hirek Yod, Iuna ending. That's it. Before I ask you about this, I will normally ask about the most basic form for imperative form. So you need to start from the basic form, which is a strong verb, and you need to expand your knowledge to the other weak verbs, such as first guttural and first yod. And then we need to deal with another weak verb. But anyway, before we do it, let's just finish this one. I think there is no anything special here. We are already done. So just to quickly look at it, kara, kal, prefix, 3ms, verb, converse, and he called. Amar, kal, prefix, 3ms, verb, converse, and he said. And then lak is halak. But remember, halak is following the pattern for first yod verb. So that's why halak always wants to be yalak, right? So Paul, you did a good job analyzing this one as a halak. So kal, and the form is imperative. Why? One more time. Why is a kal imperative? The fact that we have a missing root letter, which is the yod, or in case of halak, it's a he, indicates this one must be what? Imperative form. That is the indicators of imperative form for first yod above. And then we have u ending. One more time. U ending is special. Nothing I, U, na. So it is 2MPL. If you have U, na ending, praise the Lord, because that's not that difficult to analyze it. Abat, kal, imperative 2MPL, none, special picture, and serve, and one go. I hope everything is clear. Do you have any question? Do you understand? Okay, let me move on. So then final translation, and Pharaoh called to Moses, and he said, go serve the Lord. KJV, and Pharaoh called unto Moses and said, go, yes, serve the Lord. NAS, then Pharaoh called to Moses and said, go serve the Lord. NIV, then Pharaoh summoned Moses and said, go worship the Lord. I don't know how this translation could get this one and this one. The meaning is there, but NIV, the what is it? The problem with NIV is this. NIV sometimes try to change the basic literal meaning to something to make better sense, to make it sounds better. So my advice for you is this: do not rely on NIV. After learning Hebrew language, you can start seeing that NIV is not the Bible. I don't know. I gotta be careful. Okay, but what I'm trying to say is, in terms of literal translation, I think it's NIV is a good translation in terms of a meaning, but the literal translation is not really good. So as a pastor, you use NIV. I normally use NIV passages when I preach, but when you need to highlight some grammatical aspect, and you can pick up maybe KJV or YLT, but YLT is really worse. You know, sometimes people can understand what it means by all those translations. So anyway, let me move on. Okay, there are some words. It's a bit confusing, but I think it's not really proper for us to deal with this one here. Before we do this, let me okay show you something very important. Where are you? Yeah, if you have your textbook with you, please open it and take a look at page 113. But for those who don't have your textbook, just I took the picture this morning so that you can see this one together. Okay, so page 113, you have this one. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
All right. And on page 114, we have another one. Can you see? So those days are the most important parts that we need to deal with. They are giving us all the illustration, or what is it? Giving us the information about what we expect in terms of imperative form in relation to weak verb. Page 113 deals with what kind of a verb. Remember, this is all call imperative, and then this one strong verb, and then this one third aleph, and this one first guttural. So we are dealing with weak verbs. Why? What is the significance of dealing with those things? Because in terms of imperative forms, the forms, the indicators will change. So always good for us to start with this a strong verb pattern, which is the most basic one. And we talk about first guttural. So what do you need to let me know about first guttural? What is special about it in terms of imperative form? We just studied today. What is special about first guttural imperative form? Just one thing. In terms of comparison with a strong verb, what can you see?
Composition.
Anybody? Composite sure instead of sure. Instead of sure, composite sure. The iuna ending, iuna ending will be always there. Okay? So look at first guttural. It's good. Composite sure and holem. then you need to put two possibilities here. Since yesterday, what are they? Imperative, 2MSG, and at the same time what? Infinitive construct. You know, this is I think in Hebrew1, what is the most difficult, uh, the most difficult thing, in my opinion, among what you have learned in Hebrew1 is the distinction between imperative and infinitive construct. When I say imperative, then that refers to 2MSG, because 2FSG, 2MPL, 2FPL, they are easy to recognize because of the specific una ending. But when it comes to 2MSG form, that is always confusing. My advice for you is this: if you think you are dealing with 2MSG imperative form, always think about the possibility of infinitive construct. Why? Because I told you that they are identical. But from today onward, I don't want to say it's always identical. Most of the time, it is identical. But if you look at your above chart, you will recognize that depending on what kind of stem and depending on what kind of verbs, like first noon or first yod, sometimes the infinitive construct form is different from imperative form. So you cannot always say that this one is always identical. So remember, but most of the time it works. Imperative form most of the time is identical to infinitive construct. But anyway, what about the third aleph? What is special about this? Can you see any difference between these two? So when we are dealing with third aleph, then this is the expectation. Oh, okay, the third aleph is weak verb, and it normally affects the sound system nearby. So this pata becomes comet. Why is a comet? Because of third aleph. That's it. In case of this one, it doesn't affect the shua sound. Praise the Lord. It appears that it is. Then you may ask, why is that? This aleph affects pata, and then it doesn't affect shua. It's not fair. What is the consistency? There is no consistency at all in Hebrew. So, but in this case, it's not a big problem. Why? Because everything is straightforward and it follows the pattern. Then what is the problem? We don't have any problem. It's the same with this. But what about this one? This pata becomes sego. It's all about the pronunciation. So when you pay attention to every single vowel point, then it's confusing and you cannot memorize. So what you really need to do is this, very simple. Still, the major idea works. Shua, hirek, hirek, shua for imperative, and i, u, na ending. That's enough. Can you see? As long as you understand this, I think it's not really that difficult. But what is really confusing is next one. Let's move on to page 114. As you can see, we are dealing with other weak verb. The first chart is about yod verb. First yod verb, as you can see, we have type 1 and type 2. So these are not new. We have talked about this today. But this third he is new. One more time, let's talk about first yod verb. Type 1, the fact that you cannot see the yod in the beginning, okay, means what? This one must be first yod verb imperative form. And even infinitive construct for masculine singular. Okay? But type 2 doesn't drop the first yod. But you can see everything there. Shua, shua, hirek, hirek. And yuna ending. So type 2 follows the basic pattern. So that is not a really, a confusing one. So is that clear? Then can I move on? In terms of third hair, what is special about this? What can you say? The third hair appears, and praise the Lord, we have Shua under the first letter, and which is enough to help us to see the identification of 2MSG imperative form, even infinitive construct. But look at this. Hair is not strong enough to be remaining when the sound is attached to a special augment like E, U, Na. So when those E, U, Na comes after hair, the hair disappears. That is a tendency of the third hair. That's why we are dealing with all those weak verb. Why? Why is it called weak verb? It's not strong enough to remain when they are put together with other components. That's why they are called weak verb, not strong verb. Do you understand? So that's how the third hair disappears for 2FSG, 2MPL, 2FPL. Are you following me? All right. So when those specific ending E, U, Na comes, then the third hair disappears. That is the indicator of what? Imperative form. Okay. So you need to understand, oh, I have only two, then the third hair will disappear. Let me move on. What about hollow verb? We have three different categories. We have U group, we have O group, we have E group. They are all hollow verbs. Okay. Now, what is the indicator of hollow verb imperative form? You see those things. kum, bo, sim. This is strange because hollow verbs normally appear as same as lexical form. In terms of 3MSG, let's talk about 3MSG of fixed form of this. What do you expect? It's ba. Do you remember this? Bo will not appear as a bo. 3MSG of fixed form will take ba. So I told you ba has two possibilities. 3MSG of fixed and at the same time MSG participle. Do you remember this? Do you remember this? Yeah, when you're talking about participle form, I think we were dealing with bo as an exceptional case. So if you have, excuse me. What's wrong? Sorry, I'm taking class right now. Sorry. So okay. What about then kum? Kum will not appear as a kum for 3MX of fixed form. It will become kam for 3MSG of fixed form. And what about sim? That's a sam. So what I'm trying to say is if you see the hollow verbs as identical or as identical as lexicon form, then that is special. That is the indicator of imperative form. Okay. Let's go back to our verb chart. I think this is important. Let's go. The verb chart, page 440 and 441 in your textbook. Let's look at 440. Let me take a picture and show you for those who don't have this one. Okay, wait a minute. Let me take it a little time. Okay, can you see the difference between three? Okay, I want you to pay attention to 3 MSG of fixed form and participle, participle form and imperative form and infinitive construct. So can you tell me the difference there? Can you tell me the difference? What can you see?
The imperative and infinitive has the middle shurak.
Let me just open it and show you. Let's talk about this. Okay, all right, here. Okay, let's look at this. Imperative form appears kum, bo, sim, mut. Can you see that? This is strange because if you look at affix form, kum is what? Kum is come.
Arise.
And then 3 MSG affix form of 4 is ba. What about sim? Sim is sam. What about mut? Mut is met. So what I'm trying to say is the most basic form is a 3 MSG affix, but it doesn't appear as the same as lexicon form when it comes to hollow verb. That's why when you have these kum, bo, shim, mut as identical as the lexicon form, then that is strange. So I'm telling you that if you see the lexicon form of hollow verb, then that indicates what? Imperative to MSG. At the same time, kum, bo, shim, mut are infinitive constructs. So there is no difference between imperative to MSG and infinitive construct when you're talking about what is imperative, what is hollow verb. Are you following me? So today we are talking about a lot of things here. Today's lesson is all about the indicators of imperative form for hollow weak verbs, such as first yod, and then what else? First yod, third he, third aleph, hollow verb. Are you following me? Okay. Come on. Then let's come back to this one again. After dealing with, okay, once again, iuna ending. Praise the Lord for iuna ending. If you have iuna ending, it's always helping you. Why? One more time. Without anything in the beginning, then it should be imperative form. But the problem is MSG, to MSG. So one more time, what is the indicator of hollow verb for imperative and infinitive construct? You will see No change. Just the lexicon form will appear. That is the indicator. Gonna move on to last one. Not last one, two more things. Here, then what do you expect for first number? Type 1, type 2, type 3. Oh, how many? 3 for first noon? This is just, but don't worry. Let's talk about this. As first yod vav, the noon disappears. But as usual, when the noon disappears, what happened? Assimilation. That's why you see these dagesh, 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 dagesh. Can you see that? So as the indicator of imperative form for first to noon, what do we expect? Tammy. Like the first yod vav, the yod disappears and the noon will disappear. But in case of first noon vav, it's easier than first yod. Why? Because it gives us a hint, which is assimilation. So if you have assimilation in the beginning, then only two words, then you need to think about the first noon vav. It's nagash. And even Natan is the same. The first noon will disappear and then dagesh, assimilation comes. Is that clear? Are you following me? Come on, people of God. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I think you
Not
need a
yet.
time. You need a time and just
Yeah.
take a look at this and then to try to be familiar with all those differences. At the end, I'm going to summarize. But anyway, depending on what kind of weak verbs we have, it will take different indicators for imperative form. Whatever we are dealing with today is all about imperative form. So we need to understand what we expect. Let's say for first yud vav, third he, first to noon, hollow vav. And what do we expect, especially when we have them as imperative form? When it comes to iuna ending, praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Iuna ending is the most easiest one to recognize. But when it comes to 2M message, then you gotta be careful. What do you need to remember? First number will drop the first noon and it'll take assimilation. That's the indicator. This type 2 is not a big problem. Why? Because the first noon just appears as it is. And then it follows all the strong verb pattern. So in this case, no problem at all. Are you following me? Okay, so this one is not a problem, but this one is problem. Why? Because we don't have the first noon. What is the reason why we don't have the noon here? Why? We don't have even just what is it, prefix pronoun. You've noticed that first to yod, first to noon, or third he, they are easily disappearing when? When? When they are preceded or followed by some special argument. Do you understand? That's how we could come up with missing letter rule, because the first yod or first noon, when they are preceded by what is it, prefix pronoun, then it affects it, and then yod disappears and noon disappears. You know, do you understand? But in this case, we have nothing in the beginning, like prefix pronoun. Then what is the reason why we don't have first yod and first noon? That's simply because it is the indicator of imperative form. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. What about then PL imperative? We talk about the indicator of PL imperative. Why? Because we know that this one is PL stem because of the dagesh in the middle. Are you following me? And then I told you about this yesterday. This form is a strange. Why? What is the most strange part about this? Okay, this one is the peer stem. The first vowel point is quite strange. If this one is 3MSG affix form, peer stem, we know that this one must be peer stem. Then the expected vowel pointing under the first root letter is not pata. What is it? Hirek.
Hirek.
Yes, hirek. Because PL is EL. So the first one is hirek and the second is normally L. So that it will be called PLEL. Do you understand? So that's why this form cannot be a fixed form. So we talked about this yesterday. If you have PL stem and pata under the first root letter, then that is the indicator of what? Imperative form. Is that clear? But one more time, E, U, na, praise the Lord. You have everything to analyze it. Why? This one provides dagesh porte, so you have peer stem, and E ending without any prefix pronoun must be imperative form. So one more time, FSG to M, to MPL, to FPL, they are easy to recognize no matter what. So when it comes to the 2MSG form, that's the thing that you need to pay attention to. So this one is the strong verb pattern for PL stem for imperative. And why are we dealing with third guttural and the middle guttural and resh? Let's talk about middle guttural. Resh cannot take dagesh. So the thing is, here must be we must have dagesh. But we don't have dagesh because of resh. Then, in order for this one to be PL stem, what do we expect? What do we expect when the dagesh is gone? Lengthening. So that's why pata becomes kamet. Do you understand? So now, the basic form, PL, imperative form, you need to tell me what? Dagesh in the middle, and then pata under the first root letter. That's a strong PL, imperative. But for middle guttural that cannot take dagesh, then you expect lengthening. That kamet, pata becomes kamet. Do you understand how it works here? You don't need to memorize, just to understand how it works. Do you understand how it works?
Yes.
Okay. Then what about third guttural? What is special about it? We have dagesh, 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 pata, 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 pata. That's it. Do not too much think about other stuff. The reason why we are dealing with this is because of this change, pata and zere. Zere and pata. Why we have pata when zere is expected? Because the third guttural affects the sound. That's it. Do you need to memorize it? No. In this case, you have everything. Why? The most important indicators are dagesh in the middle and pata under the first root letter. Then this one must be PL affix, imperative form. That's it. Can you give me just 1 minute? Let's just practice so that you will have this little understanding of what we have dealt with today. Look at this. As I told you, let's analyze this. This is strange. Why? Because whom, the hollow verb appears as it is, as a lexicon form. Then I told you this is strange. This is not 3MSG fixed form. I mean, what is it? Is this participle? Participle will take come. All right? So in this case, this one is an indicator of what? Two MSG imperative form, and at the same time, infinitive construct. What about this? Does it look familiar? The first yod is gone. This is yatza. So one more time, the fact that we don't have the first yod means what? This one is imperative form.
Here it is.
What about this? Oh, E ending. Wait a minute. E una. Oh, look. Halak. Imperative. Ha-u. And then E ending. Wait a minute. This is verb conjunction. E ending, what is it? E, u, na. One more time. Without prefix pronoun, then that is what? Imperative. Lak. Oh, wait a minute. What is this? Halak. The hair disappears like the first yod bomb. Imperative form. Another ta. Wait a minute. Ta ending. It's a suffix form. It's a suffix. What about this? It's another verb, but iuna ending is what? I told you iuna ending is the easiest one to recognize. Imperative form. E. So to F S G. Can you recognize this one? It's a bit hard, but you can see. Ooh, this one. First noon is assimilated and E U na. So what is this? Natan and U ending. So nothing EU. 2 M P L imperative form. So the fact that the noon just disappears and assimilated means this is imperative form. Okay? And then this is la, nu. This is preposition lamed and then pronominal suffix. What about this? This is yada. And then e, u, na ending. Why is that we have dalet here? Because dalet appears in the beginning of word. Then Pegado capital letters normally takes dagesh and dene. So this one is not assimilation nun. Okay? But this one is the yod disappearing as imperative form. Just let me finish this and I will let you go. This one, can you tell me something about this? This one, since it is taking dagesh, forte, this one is PL stem. And pata under the first root letter together with the PL stem is what? The indicator of imperative form. That's what we have studied. It's the same PL and pata, but the thing is we have prefix pronoun. Oh, wait a minute. Then is this imperative or prefix form? If we have a prefix pronoun, put and prioritize prefix pronoun. Then this is a prefix form, not imperative. Why? Because the reason how, the way how we could get this imperative form is from prefix form. After removing this prefix pronoun, you get the imperative form. So if you have prefix pronoun, then that's prefix. Don't be confused. And anything that you can see here, PL and pata, I, U, na ending. So yeah, everything is all about imperative here. But I think, I know it's a bit hard. That's why I told you this is the hardest part, because everything comes together. We are supposed to deal with just one by one every time, but everything comes together. So that's why, after memorizing first yod, imperative, and third aleph, third he, first to noon, hello, everything comes for imperative form. So you need to take a look at them and try to memorize what indicators we have. Normally, we will have a missing letter in the beginning for imperative form in case of hello Bob. No, just weak verb. Okay, so let me summarize. Okay, we are all talking about the indicators of imperative form. What is the most expected about pointing for imperative? For strong verb, shua, holem, and iuna ending. Okay, let's start from the basic form. And what about, that's Kal. What about PS stem? PS stem strong verb is different from Kal. What is it? Of course, we need to have dagesh forte in the middle. And then the first vowel point will be what? Pata. That's it. So we start from this basic form for Kal and PL. In terms of Kal, we need to deal with weak verbs such as the first yod. What is it? The first yod verb. All right, those who have class, please leave. I will just summarize and then okay, I will let you go. The first yod will disappear. Okay, if you see the first yod disappear, then what is it? That is the indicator of imperative form. First noon verb, what do you expect? The noon will be assimilated. Are you following me? Okay. And what else? What else? Hello, Bob. Hello, Bob. What do you expect? Hello, Bob. No change at all. Hello, Bob will appear as it is without any change. Kum will be kum, bo will be bo, sim will be sim. And that is the indicator of hello, Bob. I think these are the most important indicators for imperative form. I think you just talk about the most challenging part in Hebrew 1. Okay, so spend some more time and take a look at your textbook and be familiar with those imperative form. Do you have any question?
Do we have a translation quiz on Friday?
No, you will not take any quizzes except oral quizzes. So I'm going to send you your schedule sometime this afternoon or this morning. So check it and then just join the meeting according to your schedule. So when it comes to Thursday and Friday quizzes, yeah, just you can join on your what is it quiz schedule. So you don't need to, those who are taking your quizzes on Thursday, you don't need to join Friday. Only Elabaya and I will be dealing with our students for those 2 days. Is that clear? I may ask you about those indicators of imperative form for weak verbs. So I want you to pay attention to what we have talked about today. Just look at your textbook and then try to be familiar with all those indicators. Okay? Because this is the most, what is it, the challenging part and the last lesson. So you need to really understand. Do you have any question?
I just have a question about the quiz. So you're gonna quiz us on vocabulary and reading.
Okay, you are going to take your vocabulary quiz, Elabaya. Then Elabaya will show you 20 vocabulary. And then I'm going to show you one Hebrew passage, and you are going to simply read it before me. That's a Hebrew reading quiz, okay?
Sir,
Okay.
we
Got it.
Yeah, Jim?
sir, we don't have to come tomorrow, right? If it's on Friday.
Yes. Those who are taking your quizzes on Friday, you don't need to join tomorrow.
Your questions regarding grammar would be until the lesson 18 or lesson 20.
lesson 20. Today is lesson 20, is it 19? 20, right?
20.
Yeah, until 20. That's why I
What-
told you need to pay attention to even what we have studied today.
All right, sir.
Okay? Yeah. All right.
Okay.
I'm done.
Thank you,
you.
sir.
See you tomorrow or in the day after tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. 네.
아, 네.
아이고, 잠시만요.
네.